From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. Prime Minister Mark Carney is meeting with Inuit leaders today to talk about his government's major projects legislation.
This meeting of the Inuit Crown Partnership Committee looks to discuss how best to move forward with projects while also respecting Inuit sovereignty rights. This in response to the One Canadian Economy Act, granting Ottawa power to fast-track projects it deems in the national interest, sidestepping environmental protections and other legislation. Indigenous leaders have said Ottawa failed to adequately consult them on the matter. Carney has promised to hold talks with them for input on how projects can proceed, but after meeting the Prime Minister last week, some chiefs said they had more questions than answers. Aaron Sousa, the Canadian Press, Inuvik.
The sentencing trial for Freedom Convoy leaders Tamara Lich and Chris Barber picks up today in Ottawa. Lich's lawyer, Lawrence Greenspan, is expected to deliver sentencing submissions during this morning's hearing. The pair were found guilty of mischief months ago, and the Crown is seeking a prison sentence of 7 years for Lich and 8 years for Barber, who was also found guilty of counseling others to disobey a court order. Rescue efforts are continuing at a northern BC mine where 3 workers were trapped underground. The mine's operator, Newmont Corporation, says it is assembling a group of specialist teams from other nearby sites to respond to the situation at the Red Chris mine in a remote area near Dease Lake. The 3 contractors, 2 from British Columbia and 1 from Ontario, were trapped on Tuesday after 2, quote, fall-of-ground incidents that blocked off access. The workers have reportedly made it to a safety refuge area and have enough air, food, and water as not to be in immediate danger. Now, on to the international stage where Hamas has submitted a further ceasefire proposal to Israel.
An Israeli official is calling a Hamas proposal workable, although no details have been provided. Hamas confirmed in a statement early Thursday that it had sent the proposal to mediators. The Hamas response comes as top US envoy Steve Witkoff is set for travel to Europe, where he's supposed to meet with key leaders from the Middle East to discuss the latest ceasefire proposal and the release of hostages. The Hamas offer comes a day after more than 100 charity and human rights groups said that Israel's blockade and ongoing military offensive is pushing Palestinians in the Gaza Strip towards starvation. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
And finally, Thailand and Cambodia have exchanged fire at the border this morning in a sharp escalation of their conflict, which has killed at least 9 civilians. The Thai army says 6 people were killed after shots were fired at a gas station. At least 14 people were injured in 3 border provinces. Relations between the Southeast Asian neighbors have deteriorated sharply ever since an armed confrontation back in May that killed a Cambodian soldier. Nationalist passions on both sides have further inflamed the situation. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Bo Bichette's 2-run homer capped off a wild victory as the Toronto Blue Jays held off the New York Yankees 8-4, the victory tying the Blue Jays with the Houston Astros for the best record in the American League. Elsewhere, the Cleveland Guardians posted a 3-2 victory over the Baltimore Orioles, and Shohei Ohtani matched a franchise record with a homer in the 5th straight game as the Los Angeles Dodgers rallied to beat the Minnesota Twins 4-3. Now from the world of tennis, where Canada's Victoria Mboko fell 6-3, 7-5 to Kazakhstan's Elena Rybakina in the second round of action at the City Open tournament being held in Washington, D.C. And finally, in some footy action, Spain has reached the final of the Women's European Soccer Championship with a 1-0 win over Germany. The Spanish squad will face defending champion England in Sunday's final in Switzerland. It'll be a rematch of the 2023 World Cup final, which saw Spain win 1-0. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.